What is the best orb to open to get the most amount of COSMO shards? What exactly is this new exposed mechanic? And what do you need to hoard this week? We're talking about these things and your mailbag questions as we're celebrating Mailbag Monday. So if you're ready for all of that and more Valley Club, you know what to do. Find that like button. Let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
Hello, Valley Maniacs. Welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin. Hope you're having a great Mailbag Monday. We're going to go into the mailbag and answer all of your questions over on Discord. We're also talking about this exposed mechanic, the best orb to open to get the most amount of COSMO shards. But if you're your first time here, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force content. We have at least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel, helping you with everything that you need to, in Marvel Strike Force, whether it's gameplay, whether it's answering questions like this, whether it's keeping you up to date on the latest news. We got it all for you on this channel, so hit that subscribe button. But let's talk about what you need to be hoarding this week. And we have info on a few different things. So hopefully you're already saving your gold orbs. We need that for an event tomorrow, so hoard that. Also, Blitz credits. So if you're not already hoarding all your Blitz earnings and the ways to get more Blitz matches, that is what you need to hoard. All right, but with that said, there are 2 orbs in the game right now, 2 orbs for COSMO. Let's talk about both of these orbs, and they're actually both for events. Let's talk about both of them though. We have one, this Space Pup orb, and this is not tied to his event, but you can get some shards for COSMO in this. And if we look, this is a normal standard shard orb where you're getting a certain percent to get 6 shards. Most of the time you're going to get 6 shards, but you do have a big shot to get up to 180 shards and some other things on the other sides. Now with this one, you also have this intergalactic orb. It costs less, 175 cores less. You do have COSMO shards in this. You have some COSMO shards on the left and the right pillars. So minimum of getting 2 COSMO shards in this orb, but in the center here, this is where you can get some other COSMO shards. You have a very low chance to get up to 50 COSMO shards. You have a high chance to get up to 8 COSMO shards along with some other characters. And if we look at the average of this orb here, you're averaging, as far as COSMO shards, you're averaging about 5.2 COSMO shards per one of these orbs. With this orb, you're averaging about 8 COSMO shards. So if you're just looking for these COSMO shards, this is the way to go. To get this Space Pup orb, that's going to get you the most benefit for this. But if you're looking to maximize this event, or you're just looking for some of these other character shards, or just looking to get the most amount of character shards possible, not specific COSMO, this is the way to go. This is going to get you, this is the orb that's going to give you the most amount of character shards, not specifically the most COSMO shards. You're going to get some of these other shards in there, or the other characters that are in there. So if you're just looking for COSMO, this is the way to go. If you're looking to maximize this event and also get COSMO shards, this is the way to go. And if you're looking to calculate this, as far as the power core spent per the amount of shards for COSMO you're getting, per power core spent, it is 0.0118 in these orbs. It goes down to 0.0104 in these orbs. So definitely better per power core spent. But if you're looking for some more calculations on this, if we go to what it says on the blog post here, to score for this Riff Ruff event, which is coming up, well, we need to do a couple different things. And for that, you need to open these gold orbs. So that's where you need these gold orbs. But for these intergalactic orbs, you could open those either with power cores or use your power cores to refresh the event campaign missions, which should be in the game tomorrow. So the best use of your power cores is to use them to refresh the campaign nodes to get more shards, to get more orb fragments that way. The second best would be these intergalactic orbs. And the worst as far as the COSMO shards, or as far as the event campaign progress and in the total, this would be the worst to get. So that is the calculations. That's how you could get the most shards for COSMO. Well, let's talk about this new mechanic, the new mechanic that was introduced in the blog post, this exposed mechanic. And the first character that's going to be featured with this exposed mechanic will be super-skrull. So taking a look at what it says in the blog post, this was not here on Friday. So this came over the weekend when people were wondering, what is this exposed mechanic? When I was reading the blog post, I first thought this was disrupted, which goes along with the ISO 8 mechanic, but this is something totally new. Expose, a new status effect that is inflicted upon enemy characters. It's a neutral effect, treated as neither positive nor negative, kind of like charge. Expose has no inherent effects, but characters like super-skrull have abilities that will react with it with the characters that are afflicted with it. Exposed can only be cleared by abilities that specifically mention exposed, and I guess it could only be applied with abilities that feature that exposed as well. 2 characters currently planning to have exposed. We mentioned super-skrull. We're going to take a look at his kit. Also, another one coming in the near future hasn't been announced yet. And let me know your thoughts on who this next character is going to be. Multiple characters can benefit from an enemy inflicted with exposed. So if we go back and look at this kit for super-skrull here, on his basic, if the primary target has exposed, what he's going to do is clearing the barrier on the primary target. So that is what's going to do on the basic. Same thing on his ISO 8 counter assist chance. Going to do the same exact thing. If the target has exposed, all the barriers going to be cleared on the primary target. Special, well, this is how you're going to apply the expose here. So attacking the primary target and applying expose with the special. That's the only way that we're going to be able to apply expose, at least until this second character comes into the game. And this is a low cooldown here, 3-turn cooldown. So you're going to be able to apply this expose multiple times per battle. Nothing on this ultimate that benefits from the expose here, but in this passive, enemies that have exposed, they cannot gain safeguard, they cannot gain deflect, they cannot gain evade, and this does not prevent prolonging the duration of effects already on the target. So if they already had safeguard, if they already had deflect, and you get something that could prolong it, well, exposed is not going to prevent it from prolonging it, but it will prevent it from going on the first time. When an enemy with exposed is attacked, this character attacks all enemies for 5% of this character's max health. So the max health for super-skrull will matter. So getting through Dark Dimension 6 a second time to get that 7 stars for him will matter, especially with this exposed mechanic here. It's going to attack all enemies for max health and barrier for 5% of this character's max health. So super-skrull, very, very beefy. One of the best characters in the game, and he's not even in the game yet. But that is it. That is my recommendations for what you should do with your power cores as far as getting the most character shards for COSMO, doing the most progress for this event, and what this exposed mechanic means. But let's go take a look at your questions because it is Monday, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take a look at what we have going on in the game. First question of the week. Hey, ValleyFlyin, how do you do? I am doing well, my brother. Who would you say is the best Fortifier in the game? Why isn't Fortifier and Healer as popular as Striker and Skirmisher? Well, it's all as far as the damage. Now, what the main thing that Fortifier is going to do is give you some barrier, which is an okay mechanic. But when you're talking about increasing your focus to make sure that a lot of these debuffs apply, or increase your damage to make sure that characters are killed, well, increasing the amount of barrier in characters is good, but it's not as good as increasing the damage or these other effects. So that's why it's not as popular. And as far as what is the best character with Fortifier, well, I don't have a lot of characters that I think should have that Fortifier class. A lot of the characters that I have with a Fortifier class were because of Cosmic Crucible and the newness that we got in Cosmic Crucible, some of the new effects in the room bonuses that characters adjacent to characters with Fortifier will get some certain effects. So I think by default, Kingpin is the best character. The other characters that I have with that Fortifier class is She-Hulk, and I think I put her as Fortifier, forgot to move her back a long time ago, but she has that class. Shuri also has that class, and I think we moved it to Fortifier for Shuri because of some other bonuses there. Although it might be a great character with Fortifier, but I think by default, I'm going to pick Kingpin for the answer for this question. Kingpin is a much better character since his rework. I wouldn't say he's meta-defining, but on that Underworld team, after Taskmaster, after Mr. Negative, I think he's the third most important character on that team because of the summons that he does, those Merc bodyguards, the debuff or the buffs that he could spread around to the rest of the team. So I think by default, I'm going to go with Kingpin as my answer is the best Fortifier in the game. If you guys have some other characters that you're using that Fortifier class on, though, let me know in the comments because this is kind of a win by default, not necessarily that I think like he's this awesome Fortifier character. All right, next question. Alpha and beta harder difficulties. I know, right? What the heck? We got this harder difficulty for Gamma around the time that the Quantumania was coming in, thinking that, oh yes, we should get this harder difficulty for Alpha and Beta. And all these years later, we even have another MCU movie that's been released, The Guardians of the Galaxy. Nothing in Alpha and Beta. So I don't know what is going on. It's still being asked at the devs. Hasn't been asked recently in the Envoy chat, but I will ask this today because yeah, I forgot about this. This is not good. This is this is like, all right, Quantumania is here. Celebrate by putting more resources into the bad Quantumania characters. Celebrate this movie, and that's kind of what happened. They forgot to go back with Alpha and Beta, but trust me, I will go back and ask this question. Why don't we have the harder difficulties for these other raids? Just the worst raid that we have the harder difficulty for. Hey, ValleyFlyin, greetings from Singapore. Short question this week, but are the devs aware that the MVP score is a bug, or is this intentional? The war MVP is simplified just to the number of attack wins instead of considering defensive wins and TCP like previously. So they may have reverted the calculations when they changed the scoring for war. With this nowhere high scoring bonuses, I guess they must have forgot. I haven't noticed the war MVP for a while, guys, honestly. Been in a war casual alliance and been focusing more on Cosmic Crucible and the raids other than war. So honestly, I did not know that this was a bug, but this is another thing. I'll report to the devs and say that the scoring must have been reverted when they put these nowhere heist rules in to the nowhere siege rules into the war. So I'll let them know this one as well. I think they weren't aware. I wasn't aware of this either because it hasn't been reported. So thank you for letting me know, brother. I will definitely let the devs know about this one. I have a couple questions about bottlenecks. When are we going to get more gold? Because it's not enough for them to go around the second one. Where do you think they're going to add more ISO 8 blue and ISO 8.5? Even though they added more recently, I think it's still a big bottleneck. They didn't really add more recently. They have given us more events with these, but these events come and go. And recently, I think we've had less ISO 8, 4, and 5. And yeah, there's a lot of bottlenecks. I think the big one is gold. And I think a lot of that bottleneck comes because we have to hoard these gold orbs for these events, for these these hoarding events that we have in the game. So to try to get the most benefit from the milestones and that, people are hoarding these gold orbs. And with that, we're running out of gold and we're not able to level up these characters. So I think they've kind of done, it's kind of a double-edged sword what they're doing with your events, right? They want to try to make more money. They want people to spend and buy more gold orbs, but for the people that aren't spending, it's kind of getting them to spend less. So that's kind of what's going on with the gold right now. ISO 8, 4, and 5. There was a call last week with the devs, and that was one of the major things that was brought up. I don't think that they know that they're giving us less ISO 8, 4, and 5 because they seemed a little surprised with that. So hopefully they go back, look at the numbers, and recalculate a lot of stuff, especially with gold, especially with the ISO 8, 4, and 5, because those are major bottlenecks. Training mats is another major bottleneck in the game as well. And then I guess some of the gear as well, but there should be some bottlenecks, but I think there's just too many bottlenecks in the game. So they need to look back at these things and see what is actually hurting the player base and what's actually making them money. Because I think they have two diverging ways of doing business here, trying to limit all this stuff and get people to spend more. But I think it has the effect for at least some players of getting them to spend less because there are so many bottlenecks and we can't progress a lot of these new characters. So yeah, it hopefully will be looked at and it's a better experience for everybody in this. All right, last but not least, hey, Valley, hope you're doing well. Word the game is kind of a dangerous tailspin. Losing Ton is a big loss to the community. Are they ever going to give the players the 1.8 million ISO 5? I hope they do. Like I said, there was a dev call last week, and I hope we gave the CMs enough ammunition that they could go back to the devs and say, hey, the community needs this stuff. The community feels shortchanged. There's some inequitability in the communities. Some players are getting a lot of stuff. Some players are getting very little. It should be fair. Hopefully, we've given enough reasons that they could go back to the devs and convince the devs to actually give this stuff out. So that it is still not finalized. I wouldn't say that it's done. I wouldn't say that they're gonna do it at this point. I think it's still up in the air. So as far as a chance, maybe my guess off the top of my head would be there's probably gonna be like a 20% chance they would do something like that. That is not anything that CMs or the devs said. That's just kind of what I'm hoping for, by the way. So if inequitability, if they don't, I'm a longtime members are in alliance that are on a very edge of quitting. Nothing is getting better. The bottlenecks communication are getting worse. Where's the fun gone? Time to change my review of the game. Don't play this game. I think they do need to communicate a little bit more. But I do think that the big errors that they had last week, one with the Blitz milestones, reverting that to 75,000 for one Blitz battle, I think was a good sign that they are listening to the community. They're not just fixing it in a way that's the most horrible for the community. They actually did fix things in the right, fair way. Same thing with the Nova scoring for the Nova trials. You know, they could have done a lot of different things with the minimum scoring, but they went back, they recalculated everything for that 100,000, which was the only thing that was communicated. So I think both of those they handled right, and that gives me some hope that they're listening to the community. errors that they're having, they're handling in the correct way that's fair for the community. So the only one they really need to go back on is that ISO 8.5, but I think at least with the issues last week, they handled it right. So cross my fingers, that's a sign of good things to come. It's always never good when people are quitting, but hopefully that sends a message and can give some hope in the future. Trying to be positive here, guys, and I hope you are positive as well. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Hopefully you're having fun playing Marvel Strike Force, and if you are, hit that subscribe button because like I said, at least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel. Check me out on social media. Check out some of the other videos on this channel. If you want more help with Marvel Strike Force, and more importantly, have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Hulk fist bump, ValleyFlyin out!